Can I get a hallelujah?
What if I told you that some of Christian rock's biggest stars weren't who they claimed to be, on stage or off? This isn't just about hypocrisy. It's a wake-up call for every creator. Your reputation is your brand, and when it crumbles, everything else follows.
Oh God.
I'm Kyle Jordan from the Kyle Jordan Project, and today I'm in the dinosaur capital of the world, Drumheller, Alberta, Canada. Don't forget to hit those like, subscribe, and follow buttons. This isn't some outsider's take. I grew up deep in the evangelical movement and in the Christian music scene. I was once asked to be Matt Brower's Canadian drummer. I spent 10 days playing alongside a member of Caedmon's Call. I was nominated for 3 Christian Music Awards, right up against the likes of Carolyn Aarons and Thousand Foot Crutch. I was the drummer for a 3-day Kenneth Copeland conference. I went to Bible college, I attended Christian school, I helped plant churches, I served as a youth pastor, went on missions trips, and was the full-time worship drummer at even more than one church. Hell, I even started a Christian blog that gained over 10,000 members. At one point, I even argued with one of the DC Talk band members about what Christian celebrities should or shouldn't say in public. I was opting for more of a conservative view on things. So, when I say I've been behind the evangelical music curtain, I'm not exaggerating. I've lived it. I've benefited from it. I performed in it. But I'm not standing here to throw stones, no, because here's the truth. I'm guilty too. For years, I publicly wandered between Christian and atheist. I settled somewhere in between. I didn't think I'd leave to the present, but the terror of even the slightest chance of hell kept me in this weird, in-between purgatory. But you see, I was a good musician, and that was always enough for the church to overlook my doubts, my questions, my contradictions. What they would have called sin, I now call growth. Because back then, talent bought grace. Not truth, not character, just stage presence and musical skill. And that's the setup. First things first, I don't follow any organized religion anymore. In fact, some of my most painful experiences happened inside these walls. That said, I've got no issue with anyone else's belief. As long as they're not causing harm, we're good. All right, let's start with the Newsboys. I saw them live 3 times. It felt like a revival. Massive crowds, lights, energy, worship anthems, they looked like the real thing. But in 2015, George Perdikis, one of the band's founding members, dropped a bombshell. He was never a Christian. Not really. He'd been part of the band, selling the image, playing the part, but said it was all marketing. Quote, "I always felt uncomfortable with the rigid beliefs of Christianity." That admission shattered illusions for millions of fans. But for those of us who'd been inside the system, well, it wasn't shocking. We'd seen the cracks. Then came June 2025, and everything imploded. Michael Tait, lead singer of DC Talk and later the Newsboys, was accused by 3 men of sexual assault. 2 of them said they were drugged during the incidents, which spanned from 2004 to 2014. On June 10th, Tait released a statement on Instagram saying the allegations were, sadly, largely true.
Well, right now I don't like me, and you know what? I bet God don't like me that much.
He admitted to 20 years of cocaine and alcohol abuse, and he'd said he touched men in an unwanted, sensual way.
And abused cocaine, consumed far too much alcohol, and at times touched men in an unwanted, sensual way.
He stepped down from the band to seek treatment. He called it sin. As Christianity Today reported, Tait said, "I live 2 distinctly different lives, and I'm ashamed of my life choices." But the story didn't end with his confession. No, because this wasn't an isolated moment. It was a systemic failure. The Christian music world had known. People in the industry described it as the biggest open secret in Christian music. And when the news finally broke, it sparked a chain reaction. Capital Christian Music Group dropped the Newsboys. Christian Audio pulled all Tait-era songs. Promoters canceled tour dates. The band said they felt betrayed and heartbroken. And it gets worse. One woman came forward claiming she was drugged and experienced sexual violence by a crew member, with Tait allegedly in the room. She reported it at the time. Nothing happened. The tour manager allegedly covered it up. This wasn't just about one man's fall. It was about years of silence, protection, complicity. And here's where we zoom out, because this isn't new. Tait is just the latest name in a long line of Christian leaders who fall hard, confess vaguely, and walk away cushioned. Ravi Zacharias sexually abused women for years. His ministry covered it up. He was only exposed after his death. Ted Haggart, former head of the NAE, denied gay sex and meth abuse until voicemail recordings forced him to admit everything. He later returned to the ministry. Josh Duggar only admitted to porn addiction and sexual misconduct after public leaks. Andy Savage was applauded during his apology for a decades-old sexual assault. Todd Bentley, accused of affairs and misconduct, was eventually reinstated and started a new ministry. The cycle looks like this. Sin is exposed publicly. The leader apologizes, but often frames it in a vague spiritual term. The industry says grace. The system protects itself. The victims disappear. Tait's confession? Same structure, same strategy. I sinned. I'm ashamed. Please respect my privacy. That's the thing, isn't it, though? It's always sin. It's never abuse. It's never predation. It's never crime. Because calling it what it is would mean facing real consequences.
Here it is. I am ashamed of my life choices and actions and make no excuse for them. I will simply call it what God calls it, sin. I think his apology was great.
And I do think that we often forget that we're all human beings and that we are all prone to sin. And you just mentioned King David, obviously, which Michael Tait actually references Psalm 51 at the end of his statement. I think that's actually one of the barriers, by the way, without proper, and I'm not speaking to his situation because we don't know what he had set up around him, but it seems like there may not have been the right sort of protective measures to guard against these things.
And by the time the Tait scandal dropped, Hayley Williams saw it all coming a mile away. That's right, Hayley Williams. She grew up deep inside those same evangelical circles. Nashville CCM epicenter, touring youth groups, behind the scenes dinner tables. She knew the culture, the compromises, the silence, the transactional faith. So when Michael Tait was outed, she exploded. Fuck all of you who knew and didn't do a damn thing. I hope the CCM industry crumbles, and fuck all of you who knew and didn't do a damn thing. I bet I've got your number. And if you're not too angry too, well, maybe it's time to question why. That wasn't just rage. It was exasperation from someone who grew up carrying the weight of that system and watching it fail people. She exposed the homophobia. Hayley didn't just condemn cover-ups. She called out the roots. She stated, "No one has said a word about Michael Tait needing gay-affirming support, because this is a man whose entire faith identity is built upon a faulty structure of self-hatred to please a system that would rather cover up abhorrent behavior rather than accept that being gay is not the problem." Hayley tore down a system that preaches love and inclusion, but in practice weaponizes shame, fueling the very dysfunction that led to the Tait scandal. She called out the broken ecosystem. Hayley didn't stop at naming names. No, she called for a structural collapse. Hayley stated, "This whole ecosystem protects predators and punishes victims. Burn it to the ground." That's not casual hyperbole. It's trauma. It's revolution. So why does it matter? Well, it took a breakout rock star, a woman with real access to the system, to name the problem. Accountability wasn't enough. She called for action, dismantling, rebuilding. She used her platform to speak truth, publicly without fear, even though the industry once claimed her. Hayley walks what she says. Her band Paramore name-checked religious guilt in songs like Misery Business and Let the Flames Begin. So when she says burn it to the ground, she's not just mad. She's done. Done watching churches and labels fix leaks with PR. Done with spirituality that costs vulnerability. She's railing at a culture that profits off faith while burying its wounds. In short, Hayley isn't just dropping F-bombs. She's pointing to a system built on brokenness, one that needs to burn before it can be reborn. And honestly, she's right. And just to be clear, this isn't an attack on Christians. I dearly love so many of you. Now, I'm calling out systems, not souls. The faith itself isn't the problem. It's the people in power who've twisted it for profit, silence, and control. If your faith leads with love, truth, and accountability, we're on the same side. So here's what I'm really getting at. Whether you're an artist, creator, influencer, or public voice, listen up. This isn't just a warning for Christian celebrities. No, it's a mirror for anyone building something that reaches other people. Because your reputation isn't just tied to your brand. It is your brand. You can't preach one thing and then live another. You can't claim truth on stage and trade it for silence backstage. And you certainly can't market faith while masking abuse. You can't wear conviction like a costume, because when the mask finally slips, it's not just your image that dies. It's the trust, the community, the platform, the music, the movement. Your credibility doesn't die when you mess up. It dies when people realize you've been faking it. When they realize the truth was never in the lyrics. It was buried under merch sales and a smiling PR team. And I get it. You don't need to be perfect. Hell, I never was, I'm still not. And you don't need to have it all figured out, but you do need to be real and you do need to be accountable. This means facing your contradictions, not covering them. That means owning your failures before someone else exposes them. That means prioritizing people over platform, truth over optics, growth over image, because the world doesn't need more role models. It needs more honest ones. Flawed, but true. The world needs people who are messy. And if you're part of a system, any system, that protects predators and punishes victims, that rewards talent and silences trauma, well, then you have a choice. Burn it down or be complicit. This isn't just about the Newsboys, or DC Talk, or Michael Tait. It's about a system that let it happen. And a new generation of artists, us, who need to do better. We don't need more polished idols. We need real voices, messy truth, systems that protect the vulnerable, not the famous. So if you're ready to create something honest, even if it's raw, uncomfortable, human, stick with us. This is Kyle Jordan from the Kyle Jordan Project. We're not just a band. We're not a cult. We're a fucking movement.